Brian, the buzzword for the upcoming elections looks like it is going to be affordability. We certainly saw that here with the governor's race in Virginia, where Abigail Spanberger, the governor-elect, couldn't say the word enough. We're seeing, as far as that goes, maybe some movements on subsidies for the Affordable Care Act, 2-year plan from Republicans, maybe a 3-year plan from Democrats. How do you see all this playing out in the next few weeks?
I mean, the whole thing with affordability, what the president's meaning when he says hoax is not that people think things are affordable and they're lying about it. That's not what he means. He's trying to say is Democrats, affordability. I'm sitting here trying to deregulate, drill, stop the Green New Deal, try to make sense of that new Green Deal and all the spending that's in it, also the fraud that's within it, as well as the rescue package that got inflation up to 9%. I take the wheel, I get it down to 2.7%, and they're saying Donald Trump has made America unaffordable again. That's what he means by hoax. He's got to be more careful because he's not telling the American people you can't afford things, you're lying. But that's the way it's coming off because I don't, as somebody who really prides himself, which he does and should, on the way he can market things, I think he's got to start tomorrow in Pennsylvania saying, look, I know things aren't affordable for you, but I'm trying to get it in the right direction. Here's what I got in the right direction. Here's what I haven't. And this is what I inherited, and this is what I'm doing. That's the message that his people are giving. Trump just is so frustrated that he's getting blamed for this. The first word is, here we go again. I need the Epstein files. Now we have, the Russian hoax and we have to have impeachment stuff. And then we have all the indictments, all this distraction. Every time he starts talking about what he would do as president, now that he is president, and then he looks at this, he goes, are we really talking about this? Affordability, this is, you think you can find things that are affordable? Like, what did Spanberger say she'll make affordable? What did what did this congresswoman who's now governor say? She says, I'm going to freeze utility rates. Well, that's not going to work. Utility companies just start pulling out. I'm going to freeze rents in New York City. That doesn't make things more affordable. It just makes it impossible for you to own a building in this city. So that's what he means by hoax. They have no answers. The answers are, the successful people, Trump loves them. He's a billionaire. They're billionaires. They're hanging out, making things unaffordable for you, as opposed to, those billionaires over there, they have their innovation and their financial risk has helped hire 75,000 people, at which time they've made a profit, So that's what he's seeing in this. And that's what I think he's got to start crisply explaining, because everybody knows Joe Biden, when he came out and said Bidenomics is working, he started campaigning on that. It fell flat in his face. He put something like $50 million into it.
All right, so Brian, we're just about into the end of the first year of the Trump administration, where you might start to see cabinet members leaving. You saw all the lurid headlines over the weekend with the Secretary Pete Hegseth, Kristi Noem could both be out. Do you think that there's any kind of a shakeup coming?
No, I don't. It's not. I mean, I heard Christopher Wright was out as Secretary of Energy. That didn't happen. Pete Hegseth is in the White House every day. There's nothing he's doing that's catching the president by surprise. There was a couple of things early on. They worked it out. There's nothing going on that the president's not clued in on. And the Venezuelan policy is coordinated with Marco Rubio's State Department, the president's executive branch. They know exactly what's going on with the military. They had to rotate generals and admirals out that either were too slow or were not willing to take this type of aggressive stance. However you feel about it, those people were knocked out underneath. I'll tell you, unless Pete decides he doesn't want to be there, and unless something crazy happens, this guy's going to be there for 4 years. That's my prediction. And I'm willing for you to bring this back if he ever gets let go and say, Brian, look how wrong you were in December. I'm willing to take the hit. But that's my prediction. And Kristi Noem, I would think that if there's somebody that's going to be rotated out, it would be her. Something's got to be done with Tom Homan and Kristi Noem because Homeland Security and Tom Homan, Border Patrol on the border, czar, they're not getting along. And I don't think they're on the same page on the way they're doing things. And look, take a look at this mayor's race in Miami. Republicans always win. It's like the only major city mayor's race that Republicans always win. There's a Democrat who has a legitimate chance. Yes, she's moderate. But one of the reasons is the extreme aggressive approach to chasing down alleged illegal immigrants. Now, the president knows he was building the wall, got more Hispanic votes. I'm going to kick all those people out, millions out. He got more Hispanic votes in 2024. But just chasing down people who are citizens and saying, reasonable suspicion, that's not the way you do it. It's just not the way you do it. I think you got to hunt down the criminals. Yes, you question some people and you'll get some innocent people, but you go out of your way not to make sure that it's just because someone's walking through a heavy illegal immigrant area, they don't get knocked out, locked up. And there's a lot of things going on right now that are totally correctable, and I think the president is risking his Hispanic votes. Look, they went out of their way to redistrict in Texas. These are Hispanic areas. If you alienate moderate Hispanics, now people are listening to me right now and saying Brian Stephen Miller's doing the right thing and he's great. I think he's one of the MVPs of the administration, and that's what the president got elected for. Not really. Not to go around just going through Hispanic areas looking for people. So I think they got to be a lot more careful. And if you said one person would go, it would be Kristi Noem. But I also think that you just sit her down and say, we're going to change policies. I'm going to go with what Tom Homan's saying. And if she doesn't do that, then she goes. But I don't think she came into office saying, this is my strategy. I think she came into office saying, I'm just going to go grab as many people as possible. Stephen Miller is pulling the strings there. But if the president listens to Tom Homan, which I hope he does, I think that they'll be much better off in the midterm elections.
All right, so Brian, Roger Clemons, one of the 4 or 5 best players ever to pitch a baseball, could be going to the Hall of Fame. Obviously got caught up in the whole steroid scandal. You think he should be in the Hall?
I wanted criteria. For example, Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens. They were both heading maybe in the Hall of Fame before they were thought to have been taking steroids. I mean, Barry Bonds was a 2-time MVP before he went from 195 to 235. So, I mean, it was so obvious his head grew, remember? So, I mean, to me, and Roger Clemens, I think, had 2 or 3 Cy Young Award winners before, he was petering out as a 10-10 pitcher with the Red Sox, and then he got traded, and he ended up on the Yankees, at which time that's when they said that it started. So I wish they would just come up with a criteria rather than put together a very competent group of people, ex-players, and I get it. But you just got to give them some criteria. For example, Bud Selig oversaw the whole steroid era. I went and covered the Fenway Park All-Star game when I first started here. Every player was cartoonish with muscle. Like they drew up cartoons. I remember Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa, cartoons with these huge forms like Popeye. And, they look like bodybuilders. And I go, wait, they're embracing this. And it was just before they found the stuff in McGuire's locker and all this stuff. So now when Bud Selig gets in, when he oversaw the whole steroid era, you can't put Bud Selig in and leave Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens out. So I've softened a little bit, the whole steroid thing because, you see Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle's records getting shattered and you see what's going on. And you see the fact that they weren't doing anything back then. They were actually didn't have good medical treatment, or Mickey Mantle was barely able to walk at the end of his career. And these guys were doing phenomenal things. McGwire, remember, as a rookie, I think he had 49 home runs. He was not rumored to be taking anything at that time. But he's not in the Hall of Fame, right? He's not trying to get in the Hall of Fame, but he was the best player of his era. Canseco obviously admitted to it. So I just think that don't just say go into that room and vote. I think you say go into that room and here's the new criteria. Because Barry Bonds was unbelievably talented, but he cheated and lied, and his drug dealer went to jail and he didn't. And Roger Clemens was unbelievable as a competitor and player. I don't even think he needed it. If you remember Andy Pettitte, that's why he's not even up for it. Andy Pettitte was heading there, and he admitted, I trained with Roger Clemens. I started doing this stuff in Houston, and I regret it. he's done. But no one tries to get Andy Pettit in the Hall of Fame, and maybe his things aren't good enough. His numbers aren't good enough, but he was heading there. So over 300 wins what he did, Roger Clemens, over a period of time, and the way he competed, it's tough. I just think it's not a matter of opinion and emotion. I think you just come up with a criteria.
All right, so Brian, thanks for talking with us. Have
Brian.
a great show today.
You too, guys. Thank you.